finding my identity, I was straying even farther away from God. All my life I've wanted to do social media. What can I do and how can I better myself? And it really touched me to know that God has always been there for me. Yo, what is up? Joshua Brandon back with another YouTube video. But today's a little bit different. You see me sitting down. Normally you see me, I'm out vlogging, traveling, doing something like that. But today I am doing a highly requested video. But before we get into it, if you guys haven't done it already, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really means the world when you guys do that for me. So if you guys can do that real quick, just go even leave a comment. Just let me know how your day is going, what your favorite part of the day was, so we can just get started. Leave that comment and we'll hop right into it. Today, I am doing my testimony. This is a highly requested thing that I get in my DMs a lot, asking, why did I start content? Where did my faith come from? So I'm going to get into all of that. And if you guys don't know me, I'll be giving an intro to who I am as well. So we'll be going through all of that. So I guess I'll just kick it off. Where do I start? So my name is Joshua Brandon. I'm an electrical engineer. I grew up in Mississippi for a large portion of my life, actually all of my life until now. I always grew up in a Christian household. Family was very well inscribed in the church. So both of my grandfathers were deacon, both of my grandmothers were deaconess. So we were always in the church, and it was always a part of who I am and who my family is. So yeah, always in the church. So as I progressed through life, as I was really young, I would say around maybe the age of like 8 to 12, I was always saying my prayers. We were going to Sunday school, going to Bible school, going to after school things with the church. It was a whole bunch of church. And then I would say around the age of 13 all the way up to college, I would say my faith started to dwindle down. That was really when I started to get into middle school, high school, college, and a lot of things that I was doing. It was more so how can I please the people around me? How can I look the best of who I am? And so that was something that I really struggled with, was finding my identity, finding who I was. And I know you guys maybe hear that a lot, but it was something that was really hard for me because I was always a people pleaser. So with that, I'm always spending time about what clothes am I wearing? What am I saying? What's the new trend going on? Music, all of that took away from my time. And I no longer started to give time to God. And of course, my parents still tried to instill it in me. But when you're that teenager, they don't really have all that much control of you anymore. So I would still go to church with them, but at the same time, I wasn't necessarily reading my Bible. I wasn't necessarily praying when I said I was praying, and it didn't really feel like my connection with God was strong. I would say whenever I got into college is when my faith started to come back a little bit, but it still wasn't great. So you get into college, you get into this, the party life, you think everything's great, you're out on your own finally. I'll say as a kid, for me, I was also very sheltered. So I didn't go to a lot of parties in high school. I didn't do a lot in high school. It's just like video games and people pleasing, like I said. So when I got into college, I was very out on my own. I felt like I could do what I want, take care of my business, but then once I take care of my business, I can have all the fun that I want. So the issue that came with that was I was straying even farther away from God. Yes, I felt that when I was around my friends and we had talks about God, it felt good. It felt like I was getting closer to him, but at the same time, I was getting into things like alcohol and partying, and I was worried about girls. And it was something that I really struggled with, again, was finding my identity. I fast forward through college, and I was never really a bad kid, so I never really got into like drugs or anything like that. Nothing of that sort really stuck to me, but it always felt like who I was just instilled in being a people pleaser and just living that party life, right? So fast forward, we get to about my senior year in college, and I see my friend Jack he starts doing social media. And all my life I've wanted to do social media. I've always wanted to do something along the lines of filming for other people, entertaining, right? So when I was young, I used to play video games, record on YouTube, because it felt like an outlet. I had ADHD. It was a very well outlet for me to just speak and play video games, and it felt good. So that's always something that I wanted to do. But I used to do it, and then I gave up on it. So when I saw him start to do social media, and I saw how much growth he was getting, I was like, this is something that I can do. So started to take my phone into the camera. I started to record things. And at first, it was nothing Christian based. It was all just, I want to be in the fitness industry, fitness. And it was never about glorifying God in my content. And remember, around this time, I'm still struggling with my partying and my identity, no drugs, anything like that, but I still was not getting closer to God. So fast forward, I graduate, I get my degree in electrical engineering, and I move out. Now at this time, I had maybe 2 different options of where I wanted to work at. or not where I wanted to, where I could work out, but they weren't necessarily in places that I wanted to be. But I was so caught up in people pleasing and partying and talking to my friends and gaming that I never really took the time to go find a job and be where I wanted to be. But it all paid off, but I will talk about that a little bit later. So I ended up coming to where I am now in Louisiana, working as a design engineer. So as I'm working as a design engineer, I'm starting to do more content. It's still fitness based, but I bought my first camera, which is the one I'm recording on right now, the Canon 50. And at this time, I really started to take content more seriously. I was out on my own, away from all my friends. So now it was more of what can I do and how can I better myself? And in this time, again, I was still just doing fitness content. There was no Christian content really behind it. I really just want to grow in the fitness industry. Fast forward, I'm doing content. It's slow growing. I have a little pops here and there, but it's not really going in the direction that I want it to go. Meanwhile, my friend that I told you about earlier, he's just popping off. Videos are doing millions. He's growing, and I see him growing. I'm happy for him. I'm not a hater or anything. I love seeing it, but it also kind of hurt to see somebody else grow, and then I see myself at this low point where I'm not growing anywhere, and that's something that I was struggling with. So I continue on doing my content because once I find something, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do it. I wanted to see it out. It's always been my dream, so I might as well give it a go. So I visit him back in our college town. I stay in his apartment, and also around this time is my family. I was talking to my brother, my mother, my father. They were all asking me, am I getting closer to God while I'm out here? Am I praying? Am I getting my word in? And of course, I'm telling them that I'm going to church. I'm watching church online. I'm reading my Bible. I'm praying and I'm getting my word in. But it was never really up to that standard. I always feel like I was still lukewarm. I wasn't praying every night. I was just praying when I felt like I should pray. It wasn't deep into the Christ. And at this time, I was also struggling with myself is, do I want to start getting Christian content mixed in with my fitness content? And something that I was really struggling with was, first of all, I can't talk about Christ-like life within 10 to 15 seconds or 30 seconds. It's not going to pop on TikTok if I post a minute or 2 minute long video. So I was scared to post it. Another thing was, I have not been deep into Christ since I was a child. So who am I to come on to a platform and start speaking about it? And who's going to say that people are going to listen to me? So those are the two major things that I really struggled with as I was moving on. So fast forward, I kind of blank off the part of doing Christian content and my fitness content, and I just keep focusing on fitness content. And I take a trip and I visit my friend in our hometown, or our college town, I'm sorry. So I visited my college town, and we're making content, we're doing podcasts, we're talking videos, all of this stuff. And at the end of it, we're kind of sitting in his apartment, we're just chatting it up, and he's on Instagram, and my brother pops up on his feed. And it's my brother giving like this 3-minute to 5-minute rant about the gospel and how it's changed his life and how he's so grateful for God. And I start to think to myself, if my brother can come on social media and speak for 3 to 5 minutes about the gospel and about God and try to change other people's lives, then who am I not to say that I can give him at least 1 minute a day in my videos? So thus was born God's Gym. So God's Gym was created, and if you're an OG, you know about God's Gym. I kind of sat down in front of a camera, I read a devotional, I read a verse, and then after that I kind of just prayed for you at the end, and that was the video. It was something very simple that, one, it helped me spread the gospel through my content, and two, it helped me read my devotional, make sure that I was getting God's word in every single day. So at this point, now I feel like I'm getting a little bit more connected to God. I'm waking up and I'm praying, I'm going to sleep and I'm praying, and this is when I really told myself, now that I'm out on my own, I really want to separate myself and start bettering myself in all areas of life, including my walk with God. And this is where it all comes into play, where I was telling you earlier about being out here, and I really didn't want to be out here, but I needed God to put me out here, right? So at the time, I didn't realize it. When I was in college, when I was in high school, I was around friends, and not to say they were bad friends, they were great influences, never did anything bad, but there were friends that always felt like they were a distraction when it came to getting closer to God. So something that happened is that God said, okay, there are plans that he has for me in my life, and he wants to move me in that direction. However, I can't do that if I'm surrounded by a lot of people, because I get distracted way too easily. People want to go do things, people want to hang out, and I take time away from getting closer to God. So he places me in Louisiana alone, hours away from family, friends, anybody that I know. And now I'm in this state where I'm new. I don't really know anybody, but he said, this is a time where I need you to trust me. And I need you to just sit there and do what I tell you to do. And it was hard for me, but I realized that in this time of solitude, I really grew a lot in my relationship with him. I really found my identity and who I am, and I stopped worrying about who everybody else thought or what they wanted me to be. I stopped being scared to post things on social media. I stopped being scared to post Christian-like content on social media. I stopped caring what other people thought about me because I knew that what I was doing had purpose, and it was God's purpose for me. So at this time, I'm getting closer to God. I feel God's presence more and more. And then one day it hits me. I'm driving to Kingsley to go get some food. And on my way back, I'm listening to Days Gone By Hillsong United. And so I'm listening to the song, and then a part that pops up in the lyrics, I don't want to sing it, but it says, I guess I have to sing it. I guess I have to sing it to give you guys the full context of it. So there are a couple lyrics in here that really hit me when I was sitting in the car driving back from Canes and I was listening to it. First one came from the chorus, so it says,
I know sometimes I tried to give up, still you called me when I fell from high.
And so, and the second part that hit me was,
Now I found a love that is clearer than the deep blue skies. It's true, you were right there. I can see it in the days gone by.
I didn't want to give you guys a little serenade there, but so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to that song while I'm in the car, and I immediately just start to feel God's presence. And it really just, I'm driving and I can't control myself, and I just start crying while I'm driving. And it really, just touched me to know that God was, and it really touched me to know that God has always been there for me. Even in those times where I strayed away from him or I fell away from him, there were times that God was always there for me, and he was always walking and looking out for me and had my best interest in heart. Even when I didn't know that he was working in my life, he knew that he needed to place me in a certain place in order to have a certain thing change in me and get closer to me. And so knowing that, it completely changed my life. From that point on, I started to think, if God has always had his best interest in my heart and he put me in this position now to do what I need to do, then I'm going to glorify him all the time through my content. I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to take my walk with him seriously. I'm going to take this content with him seriously. And I want to see what he does in my life. And after that, I just started to see my content skyrocket. I started to see more and more followers come in, more people like my videos, more comments. And that's great. No, the numbers are great. But what was even better is when people started to DM me, telling me how much my videos started to change their lives and how well they felt when they heard my videos, and how it helped them walk closer with God, and how it felt them to read their Bible more. And after hearing all of that, it really made me feel like I had purpose, like I had significance in what I was doing, and then it wasn't just some failure attempt, that I was really doing what God had called me to do. And so, for the question that everybody asks is how I got into my faith, I've always been in my faith. It's always been something that was instilled in me at a young age. But I would say when I moved out here to Louisiana and I really separated myself from distractions, and let this be a lesson, not all distractions are bad distractions. Sometimes they're just distractions that are taking you away from what God needs you to do or what God wants you to do. And so he took me away from those distractions and really molded me into the person that I needed to be. And two, how did I get into content? So I've always wanted to do content. It's always something that I enjoy doing, making videos, entertaining people. What made me start to do my Christian content was really seeing that if my brother can post a video for 3 to 5 minutes, then I can post a video for at least a minute of the day, sharing the gospel and trying to inspire and change somebody else's life. That is my testimony. I am beyond grateful for everything that God has given me, everything that he's blessed me with, what he's allowed me to be able to do in my life and other people's life, and know who I've been able to inspire. I believe I had to put in hard work to get to where I am, but none of it's possible without God opening doors that weren't open for me before, and closing doors that I didn't need to go through. So that is my testimony. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it answered the questions that you guys had, a little bit about my life. I don't know how long this video is going to run when I edit it, but I kind of enjoyed sitting down and just talking in this kind of setting. It felt really good. So if you guys enjoy this kind of video, please let me know. Again, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. Just sitting down and talking to you guys about the gospel and what I know. I will say that I can't speak extensively about it because I get caught up in my words, and maybe it doesn't come through very clear versus like when I do it on TikTok or Instagram. But if you guys want to see a video like that, let me know, and I'll be happy to try and do it for you guys, so that maybe I can inspire you guys, maybe more than just short form. Maybe start doing some more long form. We can do lives and things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. That's really all I have. Thank you guys for how you guys have changed my life so far, and how I think you guys will continue to change my life. And all praise up to God for what he's done for me in my life. That's it. Thank you again, and you guys have a blessed day. All right, peace.